Alright, welcome to the video review for Transformers Masterpiece movie series MPM-03 Bumblebee. This just came in from TF Source today. I actually found they did have one left. And I got it, and here it is. And he comes in a very masterpiece looking box with both Takara and Hasbro's logo on it. It looks like it's just a worldwide release on this one. But a box roughly the same size as the Masterpiece cars. But with movie Bumblebee and the Chevrolet logo and some different branding, 10 years of the Transformers movies. And here he is in car mode. Now, under the review lights here, he is looking, at least what I'm seeing on the screen, a very bright yellow. And he is actually, to the bare eye, a little bit more, now that I've got him here under some nice lighting, a little more orangey yellow than he initially appears. He is a little brighter yellow. He's not as orangey yellow, as the Age of Extinction Deluxe Bumblebee. I would have liked him to be maybe not quite this orangey yellow, but maybe a shade darker. But he actually is looking pretty nice here, at least to my naked eye, under the lights. But there he is with the Deluxe Bumblebee, and you can see about how those two compare to each other. I don't have the Human Alliance Bumblebee, sorry, or I'd bust him out, but there he is with Masterpiece Sideswipe. Just to give you an idea of how they stack up next to each other. And as you can see, he is the 2007 Camaro. He's not the newest version of the Camaro that we've seen in more recent movies. It's based off the original movie 1 mold. Not too bad underneath, although you can see his shins and arms. The gun piece kind of looks like car parts, and you see some little pistons and thingies. He does have the license plate under here. You see some die cast here. There are some die cast parts on him, his toes, his shins, parts of his toes, some little pieces here. There is some die cast throughout him, so he does have a decent amount of heft to him, despite his smaller size compared to some of the other figures in the line. Like I said, he's roughly Masterpiece car size, a little bigger. He rolls okay. He's got some nicely painted rims. Painted headlights. It would have been nice if those were little clear inserts. He's got the license plate, the Camaro logo. Get that sit properly. Little front running lights. All in all, not bad. He does not have a detailed interior because he's all stuffed in there. In a Transformer, the first thing you want to do is just kind of pop the rear part of the window as well as the door open. You untab that from there, and that whole assembly comes out. Again, just kind of pull the back forward. There's a little tab that holds it in place. And open that up. Bring those out to the side. And you can bring the, kind of pop the windshield up. Split the legs back here. And you can go ahead and lift this up and fold up this whole assembly all up into here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the windshield even lifts up. Folds down around like that. This whole assembly collapses all up like that. So there's the whole back of the car. Fold it up neatly for the next step. So you lift this up. The doors open up. Or not the doors. The wheels will fold out back against the doors. Then you can pull his arms out. You can pull his arms out earlier. You can see these. You can lift. Or you can just kind of start them by lifting these pieces. But those pieces come up. The arms come up and out. The front pieces pull forward. They don't pull forward and slide. They actually are kind of on an angled hinge. So you pull them forward and push them in, and that will collapse his chest like that. Bring the arms out, and then his head rotates very tightly. You got to push it down, just enough clearance for his little crest there. Rotates up and around, and snaps into place like that. Should snap all the way down. There we go. Like that, and you can lift his head up. You can pull out his little collarbone pieces, which are on little ball joints, which is nice. It's the first Bumblebee toy I remember that's had those. And those can angle wherever you want. Nice head, and we'll get to that later. And this whole piece folds in all the way under, kind of stores in his body, because you kind of flip that all the way up inside his torso. And then this piece, this metal strut, has a little slot here. It's going to tab on back here. That's the only part that frees me because with so much clear plastic here, getting that lined up and tabbed in. So you kind of got to push it to lock it in place. Now that scares me a little bit, but just because it's all clear plastic. Although I have had no issues yet. The actual piece it's tabbed to is solid plastic. It looks like it's in a dangerous area. We're going to go ahead and untab this gun piece here from. This is going to be a handgun later on, but we'll go ahead and take that off from there. And then you'll rotate this whole assembly forward, bring this all the way back like that, and then sandwich this up, and this tab right here is going to go right here under his chest. It should all lock together once you get it all lined up properly. There you go. Now under the arms, there's a little panel here. Get it out of the way of the legs. This hole goes onto this peg up here in his torso. There we go, there's a peg, and there's a hole, and then this slot right here is also going to lock it, or this tab right here is going to lock into this slot here on the gray piece. And that'll hold his whole upper body together, and there's another one on this side. So yeah, that kind of fills in the mechanical detailing on his torso, as well as locks it all together. And here you can see everything's coming up Bumblebee. Bring his arms down. We'll worry about his wings and such later. Unpeg the legs. We already undid those to free up the back. And back here, you need to lift up the rear bumper piece. Up like that. And you can see his toes in here. So lift this piece up like this, and then pull this heel spur down. You can see it's got a little groove here. It kind of snaps in up here. Out and around to the side, and bring the whole foot assembly out like this. Same on this side. Flip his toe forward. And once you've done that, flip the wheel down, just like this. This is going to be his foot. Bring this heel spur down, this little side piece here. So bright I can't see what. There's a little hinge here. The hinge piece comes down. Fold that down before you do this next step, or because otherwise it's going to lock into place and you won't be able to fold it down. This piece kind of locks it. So flip that down and then tab this piece up into the wheel of the foot. That's going to hold the foot in its proper position, tilt the toe forward, as well as keep that piece from sliding back up. But if you lock this in first before you flip this down, it works in reverse and it won't let you flip that all the way down. So make sure that piece is folded down before you tab it in. And then just bring the little inside heel spur back. There you've got his foot. Then open this piece up like this and ratchet the leg all the way up into place, at which point this is just going to fold in. There's a little tab here that you just tab in to the side of the leg like that, and then this calf piece folds up and then down here on a hinge, snaps into the leg and fills in the back of his calf. It actually gives his leg a really nice shape. I'm really happy with that. We'll do the same thing on this side. Bring this forward, bring the wheel down, flip this kind of side toe down, then bring this back. Move this however you need to line this up to lock this in place. Oh, come on. Extend the leg down. Hold this piece in and down around and tab it in, and then fold this up and snap it into place around the calf. And there are his legs. And these pieces rotate down. And you can leave them off to the side like that. You can rotate them forward. Looks like they're supposed to sit a little forward like that to kind of bulk up the upper legs. These pieces on every Bumblebee toy that's had something like this have always seemed a little awkward, but you can do those however you want. On the wings, these pieces fold down, and there's actually, you can see there's an oddly shaped tab and slot. You want to make sure those go all the way down and tab into place. That'll keep them from flopping around. Now, I don't know that, like, these are new. Some people have complained about these. I actually don't mind them. It kind of makes his wings look a little bit more like wings. If you've got a problem with them, I mean, like, you're allowed to. There's nothing wrong with not liking them. But I feel like one of the promos I've seen for the Age of Extinction, or not Age of Extinction, The Last Night, which I fully confess I have not seen yet. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I will. I'm going to go see Spider-Man tonight, which I think is the movie I'm really looking forward to. But maybe I'll catch it at some point. I just haven't felt an urge to go out and see it. But I feel like in one of the promos for that, I saw a character model for him that had these. Now, maybe I'm thinking of a different toy. I don't know. But I feel like I've seen those on somewhere else besides this particular figure. But yeah, bring his arms down, bring the shoulder pieces up. You can bring those down a little bit if you want, if you'd rather have them sit like that versus 90-degree angles up. I like to have them kind of sit like that, but you can position these however you want. And then on the hands, both sides have a hand. See, now why are you being such a pain in my butt? I had you sitting pretty decently earlier. Anyway, he is a little back heavy. But you open up this panel, flip his hand out, all the way around, and then this piece right here comes forward and around on a hinge. Actually, for a reason I don't know. I don't know why it does that. Because yeah, that's for the gun mode. But then it actually pegs into his wrist to lock that in place out here. So you've got that, then you've got his articulated hand. It does kind of have his hand at an angle to his arm, which is a little weird, but whatever. It doesn't look bad from the front. It just looks weird from the side. Now, before I flip out this hand, I'm going to show this gun piece. The gun piece that's stored under the car, you flip it together and snap it together like this. And it's keyed a certain way. You have to do this. It helps to find those two holes right there, because that's where this is going to peg into it. So those two holes obviously go like that. You only put this on his arm one way. And if you just find those two holes, it's easy to tell because they're going to slide right over where that plugs into the wrist. It's really easy to line it up that way. So you just tap that on, plug that into it, and then he's got his little integrated, doesn't want to snap together sometimes as cleanly as it could. But now, there we go. But now he's got his little integrated blaster. And it looks, because of the way that works, because the way this plugs in and just the way they designed it, it does look more like the integrated transformed arm blaster versus just something you stuck on there or flipped his fist around like on some other Bumblebee toys. Like, for example, we'll bring them out again for more size comparisons, but like on this one, you just flipped his fist in. And that kind of worked, but like you can see, that looks more like his hand actually transformed versus just, hey, I flipped my fist into my wrist. So, but yeah, they're just to give you a quick size comparison. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So there he is with a deluxe Bumblebee and a Masterpiece Sideswipe. So he's a little bigger than some robot mode than some of the Masterpiece cars. But, and actually even in car mode, he's a little slightly larger than Sideswipe. But he's a decently sized figure, not quite, maybe roughly Voyager sized. Actually, you know what I've got? Here's Voyager Optimus Prime from The Last Night. Just to give you an idea. So yeah, roughly Voyager is sized. A lot more heft to him and a lot more detailed. A little shorter than Optimus Prime, but more bulky overall. I mean, there's definitely a lot more to him overall than Prime. Go ahead and pop this off, and we'll show his other hand here. Just like that. And if you're not using this, there's a little post here on the top of it, and you can plug that right in here to his back. So you can store this here in robot mode as well, if you don't want to. Oh, there we go. That was the problem. I didn't have your ankles tilted right. In in robot mode. And these little shoulder pieces move out. He's a really nice looking Bumblebee from the movies. Bumblebee and Optimus Prime robot designs are, and even their vehicle designs, once I got used to the flames on Optimus. Like, I've never really had a huge issue with them. Yes, they looked kind of parts for me, but like, they always looked a little bit more traditional than some of the other ones. Maybe it's just because he's yellow. I don't know. Bumblebee and Prime are two of my more enjoyable movie robot designs, and this is like probably the best toy of this version of this design that I think we've gotten yet. Like, he's better than the Human Alliance. He's got a lot of cool little bits on him. It's a fun transformation. I love the way the whole top collapses up into his torso. I like that he's got these little posable collar pieces here on the ball joints. The head's nicely sculpted. Like, with the backlight, the eyes kind of glow blue, and like in a lot of the pictures, they're this really bright, glowy. This is one of the few things that I have a problem with a lot of the adaptations of this guy to toy form, is that whenever you do the eyes, you don't get those really cool detailed eyes like he has in the movie. You get like these gumballs in his face. And while certainly under certain lighting conditions you can see that, the way it's sculpted around it, like, he's actually got a much cooler looking face, and there's even some detail within the eyes, so it doesn't look quite as not sure how well you're seeing that, but it doesn't look quite as gumball faced. He still looks a little baby like, but he doesn't look quite as gumball faced as a lot of the other toys, or gumball eyed. So yeah, let me get him back in focus here. He does have his battle mask, and to activate that, you just lift this middle piece, not the whole thing, just this middle piece up, middle piece with the antenna, at which point this lifts up and hinges. It doesn't just slide forward like some of them. It's actually on a double hinge. Folds down to cover his face, and then you can plug this back in, and then he's got his battle mask. Again, probably one of the better. I do wish there were less of a gap around there. Like, I wish it sat more closely to his face like it does in the films. But that's probably the best engineering of that gimmick we've gotten as well. Although I admit there was a big electronic Supreme class Bumblebee that I never really messed with, so maybe they did it better on that. I think he had a battle mask too. But yeah, he's really nicely done. Poseability wise, he's got up and down and side to side on his head. You see that whole assembly, the whole neck assembly kind of moves when he turns his head. He's got the hinge here, the transformation hinge, that gives him have some movement. Although, as much as I like bringing his shoulders up a little bit, they tend to weigh down. Those transformation hinges don't hold them in place. I like to have them a little up like that, but those things are very easy to knock down. But on top of that, he does have a hinge there as well, and a swivel hinge forward and back. These pieces right here can flip out. They have a range of movement on these little pieces. Bicep swivel, elbow tilt. He does have wrist swivel. Each finger, actually these two fingers are together. Index finger by itself and thumb by itself. Now the thumb only works. It's got the first digit hinge, and then this hinge. But the hinge at the body of the hand itself only works this way. It does not rotate. And I don't blame them, because the tiny post you'd have to use to make that rotate would break very easily. And it doesn't bother me that much. It would be nice if it could do it, but all things considered, he's capable of grabbing things and making a fist. So I'm not all that concerned about it. Same over here on this side with the wrist swivel. He does have waist swivel, and you can turn that around 360 if you want. These little pieces here are posable both this way as well as this way. Ratcheting hips, front to back, side to side. Thigh swivel. Knees only go to about 90 degrees because that's just how the armor works. But then down here on the foot, you've got the hinge right here, which helps. You've also got the toe up and down here. You've got this little hingy toe here, the ankle tilt. But even the front part of the toe itself can turn. So even if you have them up on a tiptoe, and you don't need to use this whole joint for an ankle tilt action, even the front part of the toe has some rotation on it, which is nice. The toe, this piece right here, the shin piece, I don't think this piece is. I think this is just plastic, but the bar in the back there, I don't know if there's any up here in the arms or not, but there is like some die cast on. Like I said, definitely the toe, this part of the foot, and this part of the shin are all die cast, as well as that metal bar, for sure. So he does have a little bit more weight than you're used to, like a Voyager class figure of this size having. So yeah, very nicely designed, a lot of fun. Like I said, the transformation's interesting without being overly involved. And if you don't like the movie Transformer designs, this isn't going to make you suddenly fall in love with them, I don't think. But if you liked Bumblebee from the movies, this is like I said, this probably is the best figure we've gotten of him. It's very nicely designed. It is a little back heavy. You can see me kind of fiddling with his feet. Although part of the reason he was falling back earlier is because I had not rotated his feet down to be. I was still having him sitting out like wide like that without using the ankle tilt piece, and so he kept wanting to fall back. And once I got the ankle tilts down to the right angle to support him, he was standing okay. If you get it so he actually uses these side toe pieces, it does tend to hold him a little bit more stably than just relying on these heel spurs back here. But yeah, very nicely done, nicely compacted, interesting transformation. I like the shape of the legs once everything's all folded up. Maybe I'll get Optimus now, who knows. But there he is. MPM-03 Masterpiece Movie Series Bumblebee.